So, you're walking.
Oh my God.
You're walking. Well, I mean I'm walking. I'm walking. I'm walking along. Walking along straight on ahead. Straight on ahead.
But it's 3:50 now by the time. Yeah.
Straight down the pavement. Walking along. It's summer. Dust gets in my eyes, but I'm walking along. Moving along, straight on ahead.
There's a bunch of guys who got so into Game of Thrones.
So I'm walking along, right? And well, there's a road. I'm walking along on one side, and on the other side, there's a road. It's, you know, a road like any other. Pavement as far as the eye can see. Hi. And I'm moving along. And this road, I mean, there's nothing special about it, you know? As far as the eye can see, and I'm moving on down the road, straight on ahead. And well, you know, since there's a road right there, there's cars too, right? And motorcycles. Yeah, I'm walking along, and buses are going by. Yeah, buses are going by one after the other. And buses, you see, are friends of the human race. Right? They roll along, these big buses made by a company called Icarus. But there's regular buses too, though. You know, yellow ones, red ones, accordion-like ones. Yeah, they can be yellow like regular buses too, only they're bigger in size and longer too. Yeah, they're longer. So there's all different kinds of buses. Different ones. You know, some of them use cheap stinking diesel. They get around on that. Others use gasoline. They get around too. Some of them, they always make you sick to your stomach, right? That's usually in the regular ones, the yellow ones or the red ones. No, in the accordion ones, you get sick too, but only sometimes. Only sometimes you get sick. You get sick when it's really hot, you know, and there's a lot of people on the bus, and it's steaming outside. It's 105 degrees. No, it's 115 degrees outside, and the bus is packed. You know, I mean, everybody's going somewhere. Everybody's got somewhere to go in the heat like that, you know? They got up in the morning, pulled themselves together, and headed off somewhere, and now they're sitting there, unsticking their shirts from their sweaty backs, and now they're embarrassed. They don't want to get up. And then on this bus, on this accordion bus, there's this little platform, you know, this little rotating platform, kind of like the swings we used to have in the courtyard of our apartment building, you know, where you stand on it and you kick off and you start spinning. Well, here too, in the accordion, when you get on the platform, the accordion makes a turn. It's not a real accordion, that's just what they call it. Okay, when the bus makes a turn, the driver turns the wheel, the accordion thing in the middle gets really long on one side, and the platform in the middle starts spinning. And you're standing there, and I'm spinning along with it. Now, those Icarus buses, those buses are made by Hungarians. The Hungarians built them, invented them, and sent them to us. And what I'm trying to say is that in those buses, in the Icarus buses, well, you don't get sick. And even though I'm fibbing, because it does happen. Let's say you're going on like a long trip somewhere, right, to another city for 4 hours or, no, 5, 6 hours. Then yeah, you might get sick. But still, it's less than in the regular buses or even the accordion ones. It's less, but still, you get sick. So, right, I'm walking down the road, and I'm walking down the right side of the road. That is, if I'm heading over there. If I'm heading over there, then I walk down the right side of the road. If I turn around and go back, I just decide to turn around and go back. Who's to say I can't turn around and go back if I want to? Just turn around and that's it. Well, then I go down the left side. Yeah, you go there on the right and you come back on the left, and then you're doing it how it's supposed to be done. You go there on the right and back. But I only walk ahead. Straight on ahead. I don't even look back. You know, there's some people, basically normal people, regular, everyday people, they're always looking around, right? Checking out where they should and shouldn't be going. They're always looking back of them. There's even a song about it. I looked back to see if he was looking back at me, looking back at him. Well, it happens all the time in movies. You know, in films about the war, right? You take one of our soldiers, one of our Red Army soldiers, and he's heading off to war. He's heading off to war. And his wife sees him off, and he's gone a long time ago. Go past him. There we go. And the wife, she runs out onto the threshold, and he's still standing there, even though he left a long time ago. Real tall and handsome in his brand new shirt and boots, you know, government issue stuff, because they're looking after him. Now go and defend your country, son. And he's standing there, looking off into the distance. And the wind is blowing in his hair. There's a field and a forest, and the sun is shining, and it's life, you know, it's life. And everybody who's watching this movie knows he's not coming back. Nope. No way. No, he's not going to see this field again or this forest. He's not going to see his wife or his future kids. But, well, the soldier doesn't know that. He hasn't read this script, and neither does the wife either. Basically, neither of them know anything. They only know they have to say their goodbyes. And so, he turns around and hugs his wife. I'd say he even really grabs her one last time. That's what it says in the script. And he would be happy standing there with her like this forever. He wouldn't need anything else. But there's a war on. The enemy's attacking, the Nazis. And so he's got to hurry. And he grabs her one last time, and he plants this great big juicy kiss on her. You know what I mean? Like really makes her knees weak. And she thinks, in all the years I've known him, even though she's only known him maybe 2-3 years, no more than that, but that idea just popped into her head as if it had been an eternity, an entire lifetime. He's never kissed me like that before. Like it was the first time. And so our soldier, he sets off. Our defender of the peace. And I'm walking down the road, and he's walking along, and he's thinking, don't look back. Don't look back, because if you look back, that's it. You're never, ever coming back. And he's walking along, and he's believing that. Really believing it, because you have to have faith. That's what they say, and he heard it too, and so he has faith. And he walks along, and he does not look back. Even though he wants to look back. I mean, because, well, she's a really pretty girl standing there, the best he's ever known. But our soldiers are tough. They don't look back. And he walked along and did not look back at his wife. Look at how tough he is. Those other guys, those overseas soldiers, the foreign ones, I mean, they can't do that. They can't walk along and not look back. I mean, they have faith, sure, but it's a different kind of faith. It's an overseas faith. There's this other movie about the war, only it's a foreign one, right? There's a field, and it's dark, and there's stars in the sky, and there's a soldier, and he's running. There's a scene like that. Only like before that, there's another scene. You know how they do in movies. First there's one scene, then another, and pretty soon you have a whole film. Well, before that, the soldier who's running alone in the field in the dark, he's been running for a long time, and he's happy because he got away. That's it, I'm out of here, I'm long gone. Well, why doesn't he just keep going? Why doesn't he just keep running? But no, he decides to start wondering what they're thinking about him back there. And then back there behind him, there's this turret looming in the distance, you know, kind of like in a prison or in a prisoner camp. And there's a guard up there, and he's looking around. And this guy, the soldier's running like crazy, and he decides to wonder if they figured out that he escaped or not. I mean, he's running like crazy, and he decides to stop and look back. He's running like He's running like crazy. And he decides to stop and look back. He decides, I'm just gonna look 1 minute, just 1 little second to see what's going on back there. And he's running through the field, and there's stars in the sky, and he slowly starts turning his head. 1, 2, 3, 4, BOOM! A shot rings out. Blood and brains everywhere. But you know, they told him not to look back. They told him, but they just didn't understand. He just didn't get it. A Russian soldier? A Russian soldier, now he understands. So I walk down the right side of the road. Always on the right side. Because I don't look back. So, I'm walking along down the right side of the road. Always down the right side of the road. Because I don't look back. And down the left side now, an Icarus bus is driving. An Icarus bus is driving down the left side. And there's people in it. Yeah, the bus is packed. These are all people from some other city, you know? And they're all rolling along, looking out the windows, you know, see what they can see while they roll along, looking out the windows. And I'm alone. I walk alone.
Go on another rock. You have to wait. Don't climb on this one. Just one more rock.
Okay, and it occurs to me, no, I'm even sure, I'm even positive that this whole bus, this entire Icarus that's driving down the left side of the road, which was made by Hungarians, in which you don't get sick. I mean, you do, but only sometimes when you're going on long trips from one city to another, right? Well, those people are all on a long trip from one city to another, which means that they're all sick to their stomach. Yeah, that's for sure. They're all sick to their stomach. They feel terrible, and they're all looking at me. All of them. The entire bus. This entire Icarus. And they're all looking at me. Except for the bus bus driver, of course, because he's too busy looking at the road and the stoplights and stuff like that. But even so, he did glance at me just once, but he did glance. So they're all looking at me.
No, it just seems that way to me. I was only sure about that when I was walking down the pavement there next to the road. But none of those people knew who I was. They were just looking out the window because they were interested to see what this other town looks like. And so when they were looking at me, they weren't looking at me as if they were looking at me. Because for them, I'm not me. I'm just somebody. But I was thinking that they know who I am and were looking at me because of that.
Well, they were looking at something all right, but it wasn't at me. So what are y'all looking at then? What are you looking at? Because I mean, I'm me, but to them, I'm not me yet. So quit staring if you don't know. What are you gawking at? I could have even waved to them, but now I'm not going to do it. On principle, I'm not going to do it. I don't care if I ruin everybody's day. I don't care if they think, look, here we've come to this new town for the first time, and there she is, walking down the right side of the road, and we all, to tell you the truth, feel pretty awful, even though we're on one of these new buses, one of the Icarus ones, and we're all sitting here, we're all sick to our stomachs, and we're all looking at her, you might say, exhausting the final resources of our organisms, looking at her, and she is walking along paying us no attention. You see that? That's what they're thinking, all of them together. So no, I will not wave to you. I will not wave. You could just be sick in your Icarus and suffer. Because you got to know that I'm me. Or like the same thing, just in a different place. I mean, it's practically identical. There's no use even in comparing. It's so identical, but say I'm going to the library, right? I'm going. Going to the library and I get there and I start to look for a book, something good, something interesting, and I take this book and I take it home and I start to read it. And I read this book. I read every single page. It's like I know the whole book by heart, this book of mine. And I read it all day. I read it even when I'm watching television and when I'm eating and when I'm talking on the telephone because when you got a good book, you want to read it as fast as you can, right? And the thing is that when I'm talking on the telephone, that's the funniest thing of all because the person I'm talking to, whether it's a he or she, anyways, the person I'm talking to is sitting there thinking that I'm sitting at home and listening to them. And no, I mean, I'm listening, but it's like I don't really hear them, because I hear them. I hear them, but it's like I don't really understand because, I understand because I answer all the time. And the thing is that I answer specifically, not just any old way, right? And I nod my head all the time. So the thing is that I understand, but it's like I don't really understand because I've got this book. I'm reading it. So I'm reading and talking at the same time. I've got the receiver in one hand, right? That I'm talking into it. I've got the book in my right hand. Only I've got to turn the pages slowly, carefully, so that the person on the other line, the person I'm talking to, doesn't realize what I'm doing and doesn't get offended. Otherwise, the person might realize and might get offended and never call back, right? And you think like, so what? So don't call then. You don't want to call, fine. But the thing is, it's a habit, right? If you wanted to call, that means you had to call. So go ahead and call. Because it's when everybody's going to have those telephones with video screens in them, like they do in movies about the future. That's really when nobody's going to call me because, well, they'll try me once and see I'm sitting there reading a book and they'll never call me back again. But so far, not everybody has those telephones, so go ahead and call. So I've got this book, right? And I read it all day, and I even read it at night. kind of. I put the book under my pillow, under my head, beneath my brains, these ones right here, and I sleep on it and I dream. Not always it's true, but sometimes I dream about what's written in the book. Only if it's a scary book, I won't put it under my pillow. Only good ones, interesting ones. And I don't mean that it has to be like a nice book. You know, it can be about evil. You have to have evil, so it can be about that. But the most important thing is that it's interesting, this book of mine. So I read this book day and night, hot and cold, waking and sleeping, and I finally finish it. And I got to take it back to the library. Got to get it back on time. I mean, I finished it a long time ago, but I didn't bring it back yet because I couldn't part with it. As I said, you know, we grew on each other, this book and I. So I take the book back and I put it on the table, the one where the librarian sits with her logbook, and I say, well, here, have your book back. And she what? Takes it, because that's her job all day long, nothing but books, books, books. She takes the book, crosses it off in her logbook, and I leave. Well, what else am I supposed to do? I turn around and leave, and my book that I read through thick and thin is just laying there, and it's probably weeping inside because it misses me so much. And then the next day, or that same day, but maybe a little later, somebody else is going to come in and take out that book. But that was my book. I read that book first. I was inside of that book. My fingers, my fingerprints, my dust from my desk, my dog-eared pages. Yes. I sometimes fold down the page corners of books. Yes, I know, like the poet Mayakovsky said, right? They call boys like that bad, or girls. I remember when the teacher read that poem out loud to us in kindergarten, you know, real loud with feeling, and then made us glue our own books with homemade glue made out of flour and starch, so that we would all be good little boys and girls, and we would boil up these jars full of glue, even though we didn't know how to, by the way, because we were so little, but we did it anyway because we wanted to be good little boys and girls, and we would boil up these jars full of glue, and we would take them to school, and we would do nothing but glue, and 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 glue. So now I'm known to fold down a page corner in a book. And I even sometimes use pen to underline smart thoughts. Well, because back then in kindergarten, I glued enough to do me for my whole life. I answered for all the books whose pages I might turn down. I became the best girl. So, this guy or this girl comes to the library and checks out my book and takes it home and closes the door and sits down in an easy chair, for example, sits down, puts the book down on his or her lap, opens it up, and suddenly thinks to himself, just as I thought, somebody else has taken out this book before me. Yes, no doubt about it, no question at all. Just somebody else took out this book before me and just like me, sat there and read it from beginning to end and then returned it to the library. Meanwhile, I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking about this person, the one that took out my book. And this person knows that somebody else took out this book before them, but has no idea of knowing exactly who that is. And that was me.
I am me, and this person knows he or she is he or she because every person is somebody. Every person is their own I, but they're not me. I for me and me, just like anybody else is I for him or herself. For him, for example, he is definitely him. But as for me, whether I am me or not, he can't know that. And that's the way it should be. Because only for me alone am I me. I can't possibly be me for others, because they don't know me.
So, guess that's the way it'll always be. You know, somebody will look at you and you'll be absolutely positive that they see you. Well, not you, but something more like you. Because the thing is that they see another. Because that's only for me. By now he's probably got his fingerprints all over that book. And maybe he's even folded down some corners in that book of mine that's his now. I don't know. But you know, my tears are still in that book. And my saliva. My tears, because when a book is sad, when somebody dies or somebody lives but unhappily, then I cry. Or somebody lives unhappily, and then all of a sudden, as if by magic, they're happy, I also cry. And as for saliva, when a book is really interesting, my mouth drops open and I drool. That's not the only reason. And it happens because of other things too, like maybe they're eating something in that book, right? They're all sitting at a table and it's just groaning under the weight of all that food. Yeah. And I also drool. Basically, I don't like it when people write things, when people eat in books. And I don't mean putting food in a book and eating out of it. I mean when a writer writes, there was a table and it was covered with, and he goes on and on and on, because naturally right away you wanna eat something, right? And the problem isn't even that you don't have any food. Maybe you even have some. Not always, it's true, but sometimes. But the thing is that even if I have something to eat, I don't want to go and put my book down and go and get something to eat because something really exciting might be about ready to happen, you know? Something that I can't even imagine. And I love it when stuff happens. You know, like a riddle. And as for riddles, I don't like riddles like, yes, stand with your arms outstretched and guess that it's a T. No, I don't like riddles like that. What I like are real riddles and things. Say you're going on a bus somewhere. Say you're going to work and you've been doing this for 5 years. No, 10. And every day you get on that bus, you're right there with it. You go by this big long cement wall where people write things in paint like gravestones made quickly, or we cut wood and deliver. In other words, a wall like any other wall, right? And every day you go by this wall, you think to yourself, what's on the other side of that wall? What's behind that wall? Because, you know, it's big and tall and you can't see, and it's a riddle, and you think that to yourself every day. What's on the other side of that wall? What's behind that wall? Until one day, you have to get off the bus, almost right there near that wall. Not on purpose, no, it just happened that way, but you're walking along, and up ahead you see that wall. Your wall. The wall that you've been looking at from the window of that bus through the glass right there for the past 10 years. And as you come up to it, you realize you're not walking past this thing so easy. No way. So you walk up and down in an area of the wall where there aren't that many people, right? And you find a rock or a box or something, and you push it up against the wall, and you get on top, and you think to yourself, this is it. The moment of truth. 10 years have gone by like a flash, like a single day in your heart. It's beating faster and faster, and you take a peek over the wall, and there's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing there. There's just some bare asphalt and junk. Just bare asphalt and junk. And you think to yourself that maybe a year ago, or even half a year ago, there was something there, but you didn't get here in time to see it because you didn't get off that bus. You didn't get up on a box or a rock to take a look. And that starts to hurt, you know? Because there was a riddle there and now there isn't. And so you're walking along, and you're not really thinking about anything anymore, and the next day you don't want to get up, get ready, wait at the bus stop, get on the bus, ride it to work. You don't want to do any of that. And just like that, I don't want to put my book down and go and get something to eat. You know? It's not even interesting. You're sitting there eating, and the writer, he wrote. Yeah, he went without eating. All writers go without eating, that's what they say. Right? He had nothing to eat. He had nowhere to live. He was sick. He was dying, but he still kept writing. He didn't give a damn about the hardships of life. That's what they say. Although, of course, there had to have been, rich writers, right? I mean, they weren't They weren't rich themselves, right? They had inheritances, but they could eat and write. And what interests me is which kind of writers like to write about food the most? Those who ate in life or those who didn't? I don't know. All I know is that when I don't have any food and there's all that kind of delicious food in a book, I skip right over it. Yeah, and nature too. You know, the forests, these kind of trees, those kind of trees, clouds, the sun, the sky, I just skip right over it. And prefaces too, okay? I don't read them. Maybe once in a while, by chance, but generally no. And epilogues, I don't read them, okay? And there's some books, you know, they start off with a preface and there's a bunch about food, some about nature, then an epilogue, that's real big too, and that's it, that's the whole book. And you think to yourself, what the heck did these writers sit around not eating, living in filth and cold for? And you go and you get yourself something to eat. And then you're sitting there again and you're eating. And you're eating and you think to yourself, there's something uncultured about this. No, it's not uncultured. There's something lacking in culture. No, there's no art in you eating, you know? But there wasn't that book. Even if there was too much about food and nature and a preface to cup half the whole thing, still there was art in it. And then you have art that's like art, right? And then art that isn't. Art that you wouldn't call art unless you really thought about it and go, oh yeah, that's art. And then you have these moments in life, you know, that are just completely regular moments, and they're like art too. Take the bus, for example. No, not the Icarus bus, just a regular bus. Okay, and the bus is going. It's going along. The bus is going along. The bus sees a stop and it stops. Well, the bus doesn't see a stop, but the driver sees a stop and he stops and everybody is on the bus, right? And he waits as people get on and off the bus. And he waits until it's time to gas it and go, because the bus driver knows how long he can wait at any one given stop and how many people he can wait for. And then it's time to go, and he gasses it. And he's just about to go. He's just about started to hit the gas and roll, and he stops abruptly. And everybody on the bus is standing there or sitting there thinking, what the heck did he stop the bus for again? We all got places to go. We got things to do. We got to do them fast. And no sooner did everybody think that than this woman gets on the bus. No, she doesn't get on the bus. She runs on the bus and she jumps onto the bus and she starts saying thank you everywhere. She doesn't even stop to catch her breath and she's saying thank you. She can barely even breathe and everybody's looking at her like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? Some people are even smiling because it seems to them that she's saying thank you to everyone on the bus. And I don't even see her say thank you, but I hear her, so she must be thanking me too. And well, that gives you a really good feeling, you know? Even though you wonder why she's thanking everybody on the bus, it was the driver who opened the door for her, but she's thanking all of us and me too. Thank you. That's art too. Thank you. 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 You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we're on our way.
So I keep walking, and I keep walking, and I keep wondering, how is it they don't know that I'm me? That Icarus went past. The one with the people in it from another city who were all sick to their stomachs. I didn't wave to them. No, but they all just kept looking out the windows. There was glasses all smudged up with their fingerprints. And the thing is that after them, other people are going to get on and they're going to see those fingerprints. But they're not going to know anything about those people before them. I mean, they're going to know, of course, that somebody was there before them, but they're not going to know that it was those very people. And then others will get on the bus, and it'll go on like that for an eternity. And those other people and the books and libraries will get checked out by people that don't know anything either. That's the way it's been and will always be. But I will walk the streets, and I will look at the Icarus buses. And I will see the faces in the windows, but I won't wave to them. Nope, not for anything. I won't even raise my hand, because you've got to know that I Thank you. Thank you very much for coming out today. If you're interested in reading the text, which I perform in whole, you can go to youmeandyourfriend.com and read the text there in translation. I'll be performing it in Russian in the original on Columbus Day. Thank you so much. I'll walk you out if you don't know how. I wonder if this is going to work. I don't know. It's good American technology from the 70s. They don't. I mean, I don't know. I found it at my grandma's house.